morning. Thank you for joining us. And, I'm excited to have you here, Pat.
Well, good morning, and thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
Great. So let's jump right in and tell us how you came upon your entrepreneur journey, because one of the things you do is you're into health and fitness, and you help people get in shape, and you educate the public about the importance of fitness. So how'd you get into that?
Well, at first I thought I wanted to be a doctor when I was growing up, but recently I had to make a change in regards to my education because I like school. I just don't like extended school. So
Yeah.
I changed my degree to something else. But in regards to becoming the Baisden's Health Zone LLC, I got into that by being approached by a newspaper article that was published some years ago on First Lady Michelle Obama and the campaign that she launched in regards to get fit, let's move. And I was shocked to learn that the obesity rate in the United Nations was large. It was like me walking through society with blinders. So it was because First Lady Michelle Obama that Baisden Health Zone was first pushed into my brain, but it wasn't actually started until I was in the last leg of my military career.
Okay. And did your military career have anything to do with that? Did it help shape your ideas? Because I know in the military, I think we're both Army. Like it's
Well,
you gain, right? Huh? You gain 1 pound, and they're like, "Look, okay, I'm gonna need you to put down the donuts." They're like, "You got to run an extra mile." They really, really push us when it comes to fitness. So did that shape how your business was developed?
yes and no. Being in the military, we always have to do what we have to do in order to stay in the uniform. For us, being African American, is even harder for females to stay in a guideline settings based on male standards. So it was extremely hard for me, and I'm quite sure it was extremely hard for others. But Baisden's Health Zone was started because of my passion for kids, and I saw that the alarming rate between the ages of 1 to 6 was 5 to 6 times the average in regards to kids being obese and overweight. So my heart poured out to them, and I wanted to try to do something that was within my power to help. And because of that passion for youth, became Baisden Health Zone LLC, and then my mission to try to reduce or eliminate obesity, not only in youth, but young adults.
So I want to reiterate the portion of where you said for African American women, it's a little bit more difficult to stay within health standards. For those who aren't military, particularly Army, and probably Marines too, our health standards, our height and weight standards are pretty stringent. So they don't really allow for curves, and African American women happen to be a little bit more curvaceous. Our bones happen to be just a little bit more dense and heavier, and they don't really allow for that. And so, you can stay slender for so long, and then say if you have children or if you get sick, your hips get a little big.
That
Like,
is
bam. And I have seen some really thick women run like circles around a PT formation. Like they'll be in A group smoking everybody, but they're thick. Like that's just how their body was developed. And so one of the things that the military is saying they're trying to get a wrap on is our mentality around weight. Like, it's PT time and height and weight time because we do some strange things to lose weight. You see all these like fat burners come out and Pedialyte and all kinds of tricks and tips on how to lose 5 pounds in like 3 days, and don't eat 5 days before you get on a scale and all that stuff.
Yes, we go to the extreme. We also put on a sauna suit to try to sweat it off.
Yeah, 105 degrees outside. You got on aluminum foil and saran wrap.
Go to the detoxing.
Yeah, and it's utterly ridiculous. And so I'm glad you're not bringing those standards to children health, because they're so susceptible to eating disorders and such. Like you don't want them to be obese, but you don't want them to be victims of starvation either.
This is true. I don't blame it on the youth. I blame it on the parents because, and I really don't blame it on them as much because it's the way society is. We don't sit around the dinner table anymore. We don't have conversations. The parents are not cooking. They're always picking up foods from the fast food restaurant. I am thankful that some of the restaurants are now trying to serve a healthy diet meal instead of the stuff that's loaded with chemicals. So we have to get away from fast food and get back to the basics and just cooking a wholesome home cooked meal.
Yep, that makes sense. I know recently I've had to become a vegetarian because I had a gallbladder surgery and I can't eat meat anymore. So I've had the hardest time having anything for lunch. The way my job is designed, I have to eat out almost every day because we travel a lot. And just trying to find something that is not going to make me feel bad, like something that's not going to give me heartburn and that's not loaded with fat. And you're right, there's more restaurants that are coming up with healthy alternatives. Like if you go to Taco Bell, um, they have it where you can make everything vegetarian.
Correct.
You can have vegetarian gorditas, tacos. They'll just replace the meat with beans, and you can add extra vegetables. And it's you would think Taco Bell would be like disgusting, but I love them now because it's one of the few places I can eat and I don't get sicker. But so tell us more about the services you provide.
Basin Health Zone LLC, our specialty is reducing weight, and we do that through a combination of education as well as physical exercise. Um, in regards to my trainers, we're a little bit different because most personal trainers go through the process of doing a health assessment and then doing the trial and error in regards to finding out which combination meal plans and what workout plan work. For Basin Health Zone LLC, we're able to do a faster and safer result by having our clients do what we call a DNA test. And with that DNA test, it identifies the genes that's making them obese and find out what vitamin supplements that are not in their system that they're lacking in order to help us create a better meal plan for them. And then with the meal plan comes the exercise plan.
So how do you do that for kids and teenagers? Because you know they don't like needles.
No adults like needles either. And
I know.
we don't do needles. It's a simple swab. You take a swab inside the gums on the left and right side of the cheeks, and you send it into our labs, and the lab do all the work. So it's painless. It don't require any needles, and the results come back within 2 to 3 weeks.
That's amazing. That is insane. I know when you first told me about that, I was like, shut up. I have to
Right.
get taped
The
and
latest
measured.
technology is good. People just got to use it.
That is that's awesome. So I know you guys haven't heard about DNA testing to see what works for you. And I'm almost certain that is an excellent benefit because you know when you're paying money to have somebody help you get back in shape, you don't want to take 6 weeks to figure it out.
No, or a year or 18
Yeah,
months.
like it adds up really quickly. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars just trying to fit like somebody else's fitness standards, and it would have been nice to have the DNA swab initially. You know, you save a lot more money. So what kind of things do you offer kids? Like if you have a parent who has an obese child, and I don't mean just they're growing up and they're a little thick for now because their body is changing, but they're truly obese. What
Mhm.
things do you suggest to them? Because I'm not, I'm thinking that you wouldn't put them through the same rigors that you would an adult, would you?
No, and that's a good question. Some certified personal trainers are qualified to be trainers for youth, and then there are some trainers that are also certified to be trainers for senior citizens. Each personalized trainer has a specialty, or they become a master trainer and they can train everyone. But for youth, there's a different standards in regards to how they grow up in regards to their metabolism systems and their growth spurts and things of that nature that comes into play. So with a child who is obese, you would never put them on any type of supplements. You will do a DNA test. You find out what's lacking in their system and add the foods that they need that carries those nutrients that they're lacking. And then you give them a fun workout plan, which is going to be different. Today, our kids don't get out at all. They're stuck in the house with a computer or a TV and a game system. Mostly to help kids lose weight, you just have to get out and have fun. You get to take them biking, hiking, basketball, baseball, football, something just to get them moving and doing anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes of a strenuous workout per day. And then a
Um,
hydration.
okay, yes, the water is definitely important. Definitely important. I see it in my children, particularly my daughter, if she doesn't drink enough water, like everything is just so different. Her breath is different. She smells different when she sweats. She's cranky. She's exhausted. So what, and I mean like clear, clean, no sugar, No, don't put any of those colorful drops in there. Just regular clean water goes a long way. And I could tell you for sure when you're working with a little teenage girl, tell her about her hair and skin and how clean water will affect it. You won't ever have any other problems.
That is so true. The
There's,
more water that you drink, no pimples at all, and keep your nails clean, and you won't have no acne.
they will beat you to the filtered water. They're like, Mommy, we had 6 gallons today. You're like, no, wait a minute, we got to take it slow. So, what do you suggest for parents? Because this I know this could be a concern for a lot of children are obese because of their parents' habits and behaviors. So, I can only imagine that you're not just treating the child, you're also treating the household. Because if mom is eating it, or dad is eating it, or grandma is eating it, of course, baby girl and baby boy are going to eat it. So, treat how do you treat the environment that the child is in?
I'm glad you asked that question. What we would like to do is once we get a client that is a youth, is to sit down with the entire family and then educate them on the type of foods that they're eating and help them to see what's actually in the labels that identify the ingredients inside of the food that they're eating. If you're eating 80% of your food from a box or a can, you're right there is the number one start. You have to get away from that. You have to go back to your fresh foods, fresh vegetables, and things that you cook that are already coming from the ground itself and not from a can or a box. Some people don't understand the servings that it says. If you have an item that says it's 2 servings, but it's 350 calories, then you got to remember you have to divide that and then see what actual servings are per each intake. And most people, when they get that box meal or that canned meal, they eat the entire thing. So they're actually eating 3 servings when you're only supposed to be eating 1 serving.
Okay, so can you give us some practical suggestions on how to get started? Because I could tell you for one thing, and it took us a while. We weren't, well, my husband and I are a little fluffy, but our household isn't an obese household. Like, I cook a great deal. We eat out maybe twice a week. But I had to take out the cans. Like, we might have one can of beans in the house, and that's because I don't want to always have to soak my beans. But we might have one can, we might have one box, but a lot of stuff is, a lot of stuff is fresh. So
Mm-hmm.
for the family who is just starting, want to make a change, they're afraid about how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. What do you suggest?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question too because it's simple. All right, for an average family, what we would like to do is sit down at the table and pull out their grocery bill. That grocery bill saying that they spend an average of 100 to 200 some dollars every other week, and then we look at what they're buying. We show them that they can get that in fresh food and it'd be a whole lot cheaper. And then we teach them how to go shopping. You don't want to go up and down the aisles. You want to walk the corridor of the store. So if you're going up and down the aisles, you're getting the canned foods, the box foods, the stuff that's already heavy saturated with fat. But if you walk the perimeter of the grocery store, that's everything that's healthy. And because we haven't educated our families in regards to how to shop, they just go based on what they're normally intaking or what makes them feel good or taste good. But then when they start picking up the weight, then they're under the impression that they did something wrong, they can't lose the weight, and then they want to know where the weight coming from. It's because the physical education component inside the schools are no longer there. I remember when I was growing up and going through middle school, we had physical education classes, which took us outside. They also schooled us in regards to what we need to do in order to stay healthy. When I got to high school, it was the same way. And we even had home economics, which taught us how to cook. But now, kids these days, they don't have that. So the parents who are now in the X generation are raising kids with no physical education requirements. So they're lost. So therefore, my company is one of the companies, along with some others that are now coming along the scene, they're trying to re-educate, reprogram that, yes, I understand that you love this food because it has this taste, but you haven't tried the other version. So based on your shopping habits, based on your spending habits, and then based on the amount of time that you say you don't have, I say, well, look, there's 24 hours in a day. You may go to work for 3 hours, 4 hours, or 8 hours. Your kid may go to school for 6 hours. But then when you come home, what do you guys do? Just, majority of the families will say, well, I don't want to cook because I'm tired. So I will pick up something along the way. Well, that's McDonald's, Burger Kings, and whoever. Then they come and give it to the kids. The kids eat the food. They go sit in front of a TV set. Now, if they eat that food and then decide to go work out, then they will have a better chance of not gaining all the weight. So time, exercise, education, and some physical nutritional information helps the family to better understand that it starts with them. You can't blame it on anybody else. It starts with them. And then if you need help, reach out. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. And Baisden Health Zone LLC is one of those organizations. In regards to me, I'm here in Georgia, so I'm local. I'm trying to expand, so I'm looking for some other certified personal trainers because I want to take it to a national level starting in 2019. I'm going to be putting together Let's Move Get Fit, which is a Get Fit challenge because I partner with another young man by the name of Phil Williams. He goes by the name of Little Jimmy, and together we have put together a program that's fit for the family, and it's called Let's Get Fit. And it has a two-phase. There's a rap component because first you got to start with the mind. If the kids are rapping these songs that have a whole lot of degrading of women and a whole lot of profanity, then that's what their mindset is. And then when they grow up, they still have that mindset. So we're going to try to reprogram them and give them fun hip-hop songs that's going to be catered to staying healthy, getting good grades, anti-bullying, and things of that nature. And then we're going to take it to the next level in regards to let's actually get fit. And it's not just for the child, it's for the entire family. So together, those two phases will help to build a family unit that will fall in love with having fun with each other and not the TV sets and not the fast food meals.
So I want to touch upon the socioeconomic effect of eating healthy and fitness requirements. Living in the suburbs and coming from the hood, I see the difference because you're right. There's a lot of school systems that don't even really harp upon that. Like the gym teacher is just sitting down, watching the kids do whatever they want. They're really not teaching them how to exercise, or there's not enough funding to give them the education they need to learn all of these general life skills. And then you go over to the suburbs and the more affluent neighborhoods, and they give them all that education and such. So I want to reiterate that you don't have to not try this or avoid it because you fear the socioeconomic impact. There are a lot of neighborhood farms. There are a lot of neighborhood food exchanges where you can go and there's somebody who's making the food, like they're growing vegetables from scratch. They have educational outreach in your neighborhood. So if you're like, look, I can't afford to get a personal trainer for the whole entire family, you need to do a little bit more research, but there are avenues within your neighborhood and within your community that are doing these things. They are educating you. And then you don't have, going to walk your pet outside, taking the steps instead of the elevator, parking further in the parking lot, and not riding those little scooter things in the grocery store when you know you can walk. I'm not judging anybody who really need those because there are people who absolutely need to sit in those. But I kid you not, like 7 out of 10 times, I see somebody who is sitting in those things and they don't need it. Like what they need to do is just walk the extra aisle. It could be somebody young, somebody who's really obese, and because they're obese, they were sitting down. So I think we were a lot better off when we didn't have those little scooter things. And I've had surgeries where I needed it, and I was like, no, Rolanda, because if you don't get your walk in, you're gonna get blood clots. Like I would just think of the worst case scenario to make me walk.
Yeah, you take it to the extreme, but I do agree.
Yeah, like I had to do something because if I didn't take it to that extreme, then I'd be like,
Yes, and you're absolutely correct because a whole lot of organic farms are now in your local community. and the foods that they sell is not high. So you're getting it from a source, going directly from them to your home, and not going from the source to the store where they do increase the price and then you buying it. So I suggest you do a Google search and say, where's the closest organic farm to my home? And then make a trip. And if it's in walking distance, walk and not drive. That would be even better.
And then Aldi's, I used to be anti Aldi's for the longest time because when Aldi's first came out, they were kind of dirty. And so I was like, going in, I got filthy. And then they started to do a big change, and now most of the foods that they carry are organic or all natural. Um, and you save a great deal of money in Aldi's. Like I went last week and it was like, oh my goodness. I mean, their food was good. They were clean. They had come a long way. So look at stores like Aldi's, Lidl's. I know we have a couple of Lidl's in our community. They have affordable prices. Most of their food is fresh or organic.
Okay.
So look within your community, because there are efforts particularly since the Obamas were in office. There are a lot of efforts to bring fresher, cleaner food to your neighborhoods. You just have to do a little bit digging. I know for sure Walmart has increased their alternative foods a great deal. Like I can find vegan food in there now, as opposed to 5 years ago when I couldn't find anything.
Correct.
So, what other suggestions do you have for families who need to? You know what? I want to back up for a second. I want to ask another question. What suggestions do you have for families to change their language? Because our language in America about weight is very destructive. You either are too fat or you have to be skinny. What do you suggest about the language that should be used about healthy weight in the household?
I suggest that you throw out the word weight and focus on just being healthy, because each individual is going to have a different weight size. But as long as you meet what they call the CDC standards, then they consider you to be healthy. Me personally, if your back hurt, your knees hurt, that's because you got too much weight. If it's hard for you to walk from your car to the front door of any building because you're out of breath, that's your indicators that you weigh too much. For kids, they shouldn't have any health issues. And if they do, it's because they're not eating right, they're not hydrated, and they're overweight. So there are signals out there to help you identify what you need to do in order to change. Weight, some people like to say, well, weight and diet shouldn't be two words used in the same sentence. I don't like the word diet at all, because it means that you're trying something, it didn't work, so now you're going to try something else that's not going to work. The key has always been just move, get out, get some sun, play, and then you'll be okay. But since we're not doing any of that in today's society, then we have health issues.
Okay, so we should avoid words like weight and substitute it with healthy. Avoid words like diet and say lifestyle change. Like
That's correct.
do a lot of substitutions in your vocabulary. I think it's important, particularly if you have little girls, and it seems to be more prevalent amongst boys too nowadays with eating disorders. That we change our vocabulary and we change what we look at. So in our house, like when Alicia was younger, I didn't let her look at different magazines like Vogue and 17 because they were so into the super skinny, and I knew my daughter was going to be curvaceous. And so now when she's 13, she's like, I don't want to read Glamour or Teen magazine. I don't even understand why they're saying all this stuff. I think that's an important thing to consider when you are trying to make your family healthy, especially if you are a family of color or a blended family, because people of color, we happen to be more curvaceous. Our bodies are shaped a little bit different. Like our booties are bigger, our hips are bigger. We shape out a little different, and it starts younger now because of the hormones in our food. And
Right.
so, you don't want your kids to walk around thinking, "Oh, I'm fat," and you're like, "Where?"
All
Like I
right.
don't, why you're not fat, you're growing. Like you have a pooch because your sexual
Mhm.
organs are developing. So, what other suggestions do you have for families to improve and make long life changes, generational changes?
Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Me being a single mother myself, I have two sons, and when they were growing up, which was in the early 80s and 90s, majority of the young boys will always be outside playing, having fun. But then they would make fun of the little girls who, like you said, had the curved buttocks or starting to develop in regards to the breast line area faster because of the steroids and hormones that are in the food. The young ladies, instead of them actually ignoring that and then sharing that information with their mothers to ask them why the young boys are doing what they're doing, and then have a conversation with the parents of the kids. See, here's what I foresee the what I call the rat race circle. Parents are not neighbors to each other anymore. When I grew up, it was the entire village. When we was lacking in something, my mom would go knock on the door and say, "Can I borrow?" They say, "Sure, here." When we would do something that was not supposed to be done, the neighbors see us do it, they would call our parents. We would get in trouble. Well, today, when you try to do that, then you have parents going to the initiative or the outrage state and say, "No, that's not my child. You got it wrong. And how you supposed to be doing that? You don't need to be doing that. You need to stay out of my business." And they don't believe the adults anymore. So I think that if we come back together as a family in regards to a village, then we can start making some changes. Changes is going to start with the parents, because the programs that we had in the school, the parents, did not take them out. The school system did because they thought it was lacking. So it's going to be the parents that have them brought back into the schools. The Obamas did their best in regards to launch the programs in regards to making sure that the foods in the school are healthier. But now that they're out of office, there are going to be some more changes. So if we accept the changes that are not good, then if we don't stand our ground and say, "Look, my kids are here anywhere between 4 to 5 hours per day. They eat 2 meals with you guys, breakfast and a lunch. If those meals are unhealthy and my kids are gaining weight, then we have to change it and then give them the exercise." Um, Parents getting involved is going to be the key. Parents coming together is going to be the key. In regards to educating your kids, giving them words like, "You are the most beautiful girl in the entire world. Uh, you're the most intelligent girl in the entire world." Helping them to learn positive words at an early age is going to help them ignore the mean words that's going to come along for people that haven't been taught how to respect others, because it goes back to respect. If you love yourself, you respect yourself. And if you respect yourself, you respect others. So when I'm out in the community, I always show everybody respect. I say, "Yes, sir," "No, sir," "Yes, ma'am," "No, ma'am," even to the kids. And then the kids say, "Why are you calling me a ma'am?" I said, "Because you are a young lady. And all young ladies deserve respect, and they should be called ma'am. You shouldn't let nobody call you out of your name. If you're not going to be addressed as ma'am, if your name is Tasha, you want to be say Miss Tasha or Miss So-and-so. So respecting yourself, educating yourself in regards to positive affirmations will help you to identify who you need to be for yourself, and then spread the love. And
Yes.
spreading the love will help us love each other and others, so that we would want to be better for ourselves, our family, and our friends.
So I want to go back to the whole school lunch thing, right? And this is my daughter taught me something. She went to school and she saw her little friends coming with healthier lunches, and she came home and she was like, "Mommy, I want you to make my lunch." And I almost passed out, like, what? Why? And because since I retired, I make my family breakfast every single morning, and I make most dinners at night. Every once in a, like I said, we eat out twice a week, and it's usually around like every Friday and then every other Wednesday when I have to do Toastmasters. But I cook every night. When she came home and said, "I want you to make my lunch," I was like, "What?" I was already making lunch for my husband because he can't stop and eat. I was like, "Oh my God, more work." However, it saves us money. So instead of me spending $50 for her school to pay for her school to feed her something that is not going to really nourish her, she's still hungry by the time she gets home. I put that money and I still keep a little money just in case we don't have time that day, but I put that money into her regular lunch, and she takes part in what she wants. So she chooses, like, mommy, they have these little like tuna fish packets where they have crackers. She
I
chooses,
love those.
yes, she chooses what she wants to eat. She chooses her little snacks, and I don't make it 100% healthy. It's like an 80-20 rule. She does have snacks when she comes home, but she feels healthy about what she's eating. She's full, and you'd be surprised how full you can get kids when you give them something healthy to eat. It doesn't have to be all carrot sticks or anything. There's a lot of different choices. And if you're not spending your money with the school, then your school is going to start looking at what's available, because they have to buy that money. I mean, they have to buy that food ahead of time. And if more parents are not feeding their kids stuff at school, then the school is wasting it. And so now they have to look at, like, why is this being wasted? What's going on? Um, and making lunches is not that hard. There's a lot of prepackaged healthy stuff that you can just throw in a bag really quick. Already cut apples, little juices, or little bottles of water if you don't want them to have a big bottle of water. The schools are becoming more conscious. So if you want your daughter to have, or your child to have something, water all day, write them a note and say, hey, my daughter needs to drink water between every period. And they will treat it like a medical requirement. Yep. If you don't listen to your request, go to your doctor and say, hey, pediatrician, I need you to write a note for my daughter or my child. I have a daughter and a son, but for my child to drink water, throughout the day. And they have to abide by that. And like I said, the trick for little girls is just telling them that their hair and their skin is going to look beautiful, and you'll have never have any more problems. But then also positive words of affirmation. Your kids need to hear it all the time. If you're disappointed, tell them that they're disappointed in what they did, but not particularly them. Because if you say I'm disappointed with you, then they feel like personally there's a problem with them. But if you say I don't like your action, then they're like, okay, I need to fix that action, but my parents still love me. But positive words of affirmation. At first, it doesn't seem like it's sinking in until they regurgitate something you said. And then you're like, okay, they are listening.
Right. Now go back to the schools. One of the things that I would like for the middle schools and high schools to do, because they have so many vending machines that give the kids quick access to junk food, they need to change the junk food and make it healthy snacks, or have the machines shut off at certain times during the day so the kids won't be able to have access to it.
That's true. That's true. And I don't think my daughter's school has a vending machine, but I think they have like a little setup where the kids can go buy snacks and stuff. But they monitor them. Like in elementary schools, you can only get it if you eat all your food. They have conditions on how you can get that extra food. They kind of watch them a little bit, like, okay, if we see you eating the chips all the time, then we're gonna come to you and be like, why are you eating chips? I haven't seen you eat an apple. Or they try to make it where they can make their own choices, but they try to educate them about their choices and put in safeguards so that's not all they're eating.
Okay.
What other suggestions do you have? Do you have any more? Because I know I'm like milking you for all your suggestions.
You have milked me for all the suggestions that I have for families. Other than have fun with your kids, get out there with them, because if they see you do it, then they'll be encouraged to do it as well. But if you're saying you need to be outside more, go play with your friends. Well, the friends are inside with the video games, so they're going to go to the friend's house just to play games. But if you say, hey, I'm game, I want to go out and go swimming, or I want to go out and ride a bike, or I want to go take a jog or a walk, can you come with me? And then say, Mom, I don't want to go. But then you say, okay, they will, because they see you do it. They try to become just like their parents because you're their first role models.
Yeah, and you know what? There's parks everywhere. There's parks everywhere you go. Make it fun. Hey, let's go downtown and have some ice cream. Guess what you're doing downtown? You're walking. So they're walking for that ice cream. Start way on the other side and walk to get the ice cream and walk to get back, and make it fun. If you live in if you live in a city. I know I grew up in Boston, and you could take the train almost anywhere. And guess what? You could take the train to Revere Beach, and you could take the train to anywhere you want. Pick a place where you can take the train or the bus and then explore that area and make it fun. Like, it doesn't have to be all carrot sticks and stuff, but hey, we're gonna go walk to over here. So it doesn't feel like they're depriving themselves and they're having an outing for the day. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. We try to be pretty frugal. And so we go on trips, especially when it's warm outside, and we don't spend a lot of money. Like, we might go early after we eat breakfast and come back right after lunch, or we don't spend a great deal of money, and it's fun. Like, you just get out and get some air.
Yeah. Each state and city has something to offer, and you just got to find out what's in your community for you.
And explore, be creative, explore how you can get to those areas. You might have to get with your community and have a big trip together. You might have to go to another community and look at their library. There's just all kinds of things out there. How can we get a hold of you? How can we find you so we can get those wonderful services and get our DNA test?
Awesome. I'm on social media in regards to Facebook as well as Twitter. Facebook, you can find me at www.facebook.com/Baisdens with the S Health Zone. And then for Twitter, I'm going to be BH Health Zone. And then my telephone number is area code 678-210-1911.
Okay. And you do personal services, like you go to people's houses, families' homes, and do personal services. They don't have to necessarily come out to you.
That's correct.
Like personal services and people coming to me.
Well, I found that most people that are looking to try to stick to their New Year's resolutions don't want to be a part of a gym anymore, because they say they lock them in, then you have to pay all these fees, and then they really don't go. So that's a waste of money. So we're trying to fit the need of our client. If our client said, I'm a little bit shy because I am morbid obese or overweight, or I don't feel comfortable being among a whole lot of people. If you want me to do this program, we will come to them, and we will set up their own fitness program using the things that are in their homes.
Excellent. Awesome. So everybody, all of the contact information you need is listed below. Go ahead and check it out. Check out her Facebook page. Check out her website. She's got a lot of good things on there, a lot of good tips. And follow up with her, because your New Year's resolution, March is like 7-8 days away. And usually once we hit up into March, the New Year's resolutions start to fall off.
All right.
Yours doesn't have to fall off. You can take slow, easy steps so you can sustain. And next year, this won't be a resolution. It'll just be a way of life.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Pat, for visiting us. Thank you so much for coming out and educating us. This is awesome. If you want to learn more about her, check out my blog, Sister Soldier Entrepreneur, on butterangels.com. And she has a wonderful article about family, fitness, and health, and as well as how to get a hold of her. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.